At 2:30 p.m. on January 8, 1945, Technical Sergeant Russell Dunham lay in knee-deep snow at the base of Hill 616, near Kaisersberg, France. The winter sky was pale and brittle, the sun struggling to break through gray clouds that hung low over the Vosges Mountains. Around him, German machine gun fire shredded the silence, slicing the air like knives, cutting across the horizon above his pinned platoon. Dunham was just 24 years old. He had already survived 3 campaigns, seen the faces of friends fall to gunfire, and marched through mud, snow, and blood across Europe. But today, he had no plans to die. Not here. Not now. The Germans had prepared well. 3 MG-42 machine guns were positioned in timber bunkers up the snow-covered slope. Each could fire 1,200 rounds per minute. The slope was steep, about 40 degrees, and the snow was 18 inches deep. Dunham's platoon had been advancing through the Alsace-Lorraine region when they walked into a killing box, a trap. Artillery shells were exploding behind them. The only option left was forward, straight up the slope, into the teeth of converging fields of fire. 11 men from his platoon had already been killed that week. The snow around their position was churned red with blood. Every soldier in company, I knew the statistics. The 3rd Infantry Division had lost more men per day than any other American division in Europe during the Vosges Mountains campaign. The Germans held the high ground, had clear sight lines, and nearly endless ammunition. Dunham looked at the hill. His platoon lay 35 yards behind, pressed flat against the snow, pinned down. They could neither advance nor retreat. If they stayed, German artillery would bracket their position, raining death upon them. If they pulled back, they would be cut down in the open. The machine guns held them prisoner. The temperature hovered at 12 degrees Fahrenheit. Every breath froze as it left their mouths. The wind bit through their uniforms. Dunham's standard olive drab wool made him a dark silhouette against the blinding whiteness of the snow, a perfect target for the German gunners. Every soldier who tried to move had been spotted immediately and forced back down. The Germans owned the hill. Every tree, every snowdrift, every ridge worked for them. Crawling back to the company position, Dunham's mind raced. He spotted a white mattress cover tossed near a supply crate. Without hesitation, he tore it open and pulled it over his uniform like a robe. It was crude, it was makeshift, but it could give him a fraction of the camouflage he needed. Then he began preparing for what was next. He stuffed 12 30-round carbine magazines into every pocket, every loop, every strap. He attached a dozen Mark II fragmentation grenades to his belt and hooked more through his suspenders. He jammed grenades into the buttonholes of his field jacket. When he finally stood, he carried over 72 pounds of explosives and ammunition in addition to his rifle. His platoon sergeant watched silently. Dunham did not speak. Words were unnecessary. He began crawling toward the hill. The first 75 yards took 18 agonizing minutes. He moved only when the German fire shifted, pressing himself flat whenever the MG-42S swept back across his approach. The snow soaked through his mattress cover, chilling him to the bone. His hands went numb. The rifle sling cut into his shoulder from the weight of grenades and magazines. Every muscle screamed in protest. But he continued. Step by painstaking step, inch by inch, forward. At 75 yards, he was just 10 yards from the first machine gun nest. The timber bunker had been reinforced with logs, giving it interlocking fire with the other 2 positions. 3 Germans manned the gun. 1 fed the belt, 1 fired, and 1 scanned the horizon for targets. Dunham rose to his feet and charged. The Germans saw him immediately. The machine gunner swung the barrel toward him and opened fire. Rounds tore through Dunham's white mattress cover. Then, a rifle bullet caught him across the back, carving a 10-inch gash from his left shoulder blade to his spine. The impact spun him around and threw him 15 yards down the slope. He landed face down in the snow. Blood poured from the wound, soaking the mattress cover, staining the pristine white fabric a vivid red. Pain exploded across his back, every breath tearing the gash wider. For 5 long seconds, he didn't move. Then a German egg grenade landed 2 feet from his head. Dunham kicked it away with his boot. The blast detonated yards down the slope, lifting him slightly off the ground. And then, Russell Dunham got up. He fired his M1 Carbine while advancing. He moved inside the MG-42's minimum traverse arc, at 4 yards distance, and unleashed a 3-round burst into the gunner's chest. The assistant gunner reached for his rifle. Dunham shot him twice. Both fell. The ammunition feeder threw his hands in surrender. Dunham's carbine was empty in just 18 seconds. Without pause, he slung it over his shoulder, grabbed the surrendering German by the collar, and shoved him down the hill. Blood streamed down Dunham's back. The bullet had torn through muscle and tissue, missing his spine by less than 2 inches. His white mattress cover was soaked crimson, a macabre signal in the snow. The second machine gun nest was 50 yards uphill, to the right. Its crew had watched him destroy the first nest. They had adjusted their fire, anticipating his approach. Dunham reloaded, grabbed 2 grenades, and moved under fire. The Germans fired as he crawled. He rose to one knee at 25 yards, counted 2 seconds, and hurled both grenades. The timber bunker exploded. Smoke and debris filled the air. The machine gun was silent. He pressed forward, firing at supporting riflemen. 3 fell, the others fled. The third nest was 65 yards further uphill, the highest and most fortified. Its crew had tracked Dunham's every movement for 12 minutes. His white robe, now blood red, made him visible from 200 yards. Rifle grenades exploded nearby, tossing snow and ice over him. He crawled, inch by inch, hand over frozen hand, counting the MG-42 bursts to time his movements. At 10 yards, he lunged to his feet, grenades in hand. He threw them into the sandbagged timber bunker. The blast tore the position apart. The crew was dead. Dunham fired at a rifleman emerging from a foxhole, neutralizing the last threat. When he stood on the hilltop, he had fired 175 rounds, thrown 11 grenades, destroyed 3 machine gun nests, killed 9 enemies, wounded 7 more, and captured 2. Below, Company I advanced. Hill 616 would fall to the Americans that night. Dunham's blood-soaked mattress cover clung to his body. Every movement sent agony ripping through his torso, but he had done it. Medics arrived 8 minutes later. They packed his wound, gave him morphine, and prepared him for evacuation. Dunham refused. By 6 p.m., he reached the battalion aid station, collapsed from blood loss, and underwent surgery. 43 stitches later, his wound was closed. The bullet had missed his spine by inches. 5 days later, he returned to duty. His platoon was under strength, but he was needed. The 3rd Infantry Division was stretched thin, casualties catastrophic. Dunham moved with his men toward Holzwehr, where German armor awaited. On January 22nd, they were surrounded. Most men surrendered. Dunham slipped away, wounded, and hid in a storage building. He climbed into a barrel of sauerkraut, brine seeping into his open back wound, and spent 13 hours hiding from German soldiers. At dawn, he emerged, soaked and frozen. 2 Germans approached. Distracted by a pack of Lucky Strike cigarettes, they failed to notice the Colt M1911 hidden under Dunham's jacket. Within seconds, he had neutralized both guards, escaped in their Kubelwagen, and ran through frozen fields toward American lines. 3 days, frostbite, exposure, and exhaustion later, he stumbled onto a bridge near friendly forces. Medics rushed to save his feet, treat his back, and fight infection. Dunham survived. For his actions on Hill 616, Technical Sergeant Russell Dunham was awarded the Medal of Honor. On April 23, 1945, in Zeppelin Stadium, Nuremberg, Lieutenant General Alexander Patch placed the medal around Dunham's neck, saying he had never seen a single soldier turn the tide of an entire engagement through sheer courage. Dunham had fought like 10 men, saving 120 lives. After the war, he returned to Illinois, married, and worked as a Veterans Administration counselor for 32 years. He rarely spoke of his heroism. He said simply, he had only done his job. Russell Dunham passed away in 2009, aged 89. But the story of Hill 616, the mattress cover, the grenades, the courage, and survival endures, a testament to one man's extraordinary bravery and the countless lives he saved.